A small group of landlords is responsible for thousands of evictions in Franklin County. Good evening to you, everybody, and thanks for joining us for NBC4 at 6. I'm Carrie Charles.
I'm Colleen Marshall. NBC4 Investigates Jamie Ostroff has been tracking the housing crisis in and around Columbus. She joins us now with details on how these landlords, and is it because they own the most property?
Partially, and that's certainly their side of the equation, but I mean, there were job cuts across the board in the earlier days of the pandemic. So I'm just going to show you the numbers and we'll hopefully make sense of them as time goes on. So since March of 2020, more than 33,000 evictions have been filed in Franklin County. With the help of the Eviction Lab, a nonprofit research group out of Princeton University, I learned that just 100 parcels account for nearly a third of all those evictions. And of those 100, several of those parcels are owned by the same landlords.
This apartment complex on Refugee Road is the site of more evictions than any other property in Franklin County since the COVID-19 pandemic began. There have been 454 filings here between March 15th, 2020 and June 18th, 2022.
Evictions, they're not just, a consequence of poverty. They can be a big cause of it. They can cause people to lose their homes, to lose their communities.
Jacob Haas is a researcher at the Eviction Lab, which scours court records to track eviction data in cities across the United States. Their data dates back to the year 2000, and in recent years, Haas and his colleagues see a trend.
Corporate landlords and large landlords are disproportionately filing for evictions. It's not the mom and pop landlords that are doing filings tens and hundreds at a time.
Haas sent me this list of the 100 properties with the most eviction filings since the earliest days of the COVID pandemic, when much of the economy shut down and droves of workers lost their jobs. As Haas points out,
it's a small number of landlords year after year that are filing for these evictions.
Topping that list of landlords, 5812 Investment Group with a total of 1,737 evictions across 15 properties. Coming in second, Link Real Estate Group with 1,315 evictions across 9 properties, including the complex on Refugee Road.
And everybody hates landlords. That's just the way of the world, right?
Bob Nichols owns Monarch Investment and Management Group. Based in Colorado, it is the third most common evictor on the list, with 639 filings across 6 properties.
We don't want to file evictions. We want to try to work it out with a resident. But yes, do we evict people? We absolutely do evict people if you don't want to work with us.
Nichols suggests Monarch likely has so many evictions in Franklin County simply because of the large amount of real estate it owns, 3,200 units. He also says the rental housing market took a big hit during eviction moratoriums during the pandemic, and the business had to stay afloat. Still, Haas says seeing where the most evictions are happening is important.
They're concentrated in lower income communities. They're concentrated in minority communities. Evictions disproportionately harm Black renters and Black female renters, especially those with children.
In an email, a managing partner at Link also told me eviction is a last resort for them and that the company works in several ways to keep tenants in their homes. I also reached out to 5812 several times, but still have not heard back. Haas says, once again, knowing where evictions are concentrated helps communities come up with more targeted plans to keep people in stable housing. Earlier this week, Mayor Andrew Ginther announced plans of his own to make housing in Columbus more affordable and available. We have details of that housing strategy at NBC4i.com.